Well, in a rare alliance, the coalition sided with the Greens to embarrass the government over its hardline stance on asylum seekers. A motion was passed through both houses of parliament condemning the Malaysian deal. The government shrugged off that defeat but found itself at odds with its independent allies after surprising them with a plan to mount an advertising campaign for the carbon tax. Political correspondent Tom Eagleton reports from Canberra.
A political headache in search of a panacea.
Well, it's obviously a tough, hard debate, but that's fine. It's very important reform, and we'll continue to argue it out.
And the argument for a carbon tax might have another string. The government's put aside $12 million taxpayer dollars for an ad campaign, but it says if one goes ahead, it'll be responsible.
There will be conformity with the government guidelines on campaign advertising.
The opposition's not convinced.
It's an abuse of public money.
And it's dipping into the Prime Minister's past to make the point.
I'm always worried when the government takes taxpayers' money and uses it for its own politics to try and save its political hide rather than in the interests of the nation.
In 2007, Julia Gillard made it absolutely clear that she would oppose any political advertising. This is naked political advertising. It is because the government is desperate.
It's why we're introducing work choices.
The government says $12 million's a tenth of what John Howard spent on his Work Choices ad campaign.
Well, that's a matter for those who were involved in it at the time.
But the government's advertising plan is also alienating its independent allies on the Climate Change Committee.
This is a dumb call at the wrong time.
It almost puts us in a position where we're endorsing the spending of public funds on propaganda. And I'm not prepared to do that.
A deal on the carbon tax is moving into the fraught final stages, and the independents don't appreciate the appearance of a done deal.
I don't think it's terribly prudent to announce a sum of money to promote something that doesn't exist and then say it's going to have to go through a process for vetting as to whether it's actually spent if something does exist. So I think it's...
And particularly now...
There's obviously other motives in it.
What are those other motives?
I'll leave that to you guys.
And as the government found ways to alienate its allies, the coalition forged a temporary alliance with the Greens.
The result of the division is ayes 70, no 68.
Tony Abbott backed a Greens motion to condemn the government's Malaysia asylum swap deal, and in a first, the motion passed both houses.
This Parliament has stood up for Australian values. This Parliament has stood up for Australian decency. This Parliament has stood up for Australia taking proper responsibility for the people who come to these shores.
The motion won't stop the deal going ahead, and Julia Gillard says she's being the responsible one by ignoring it.
We will be taking the toughest possible further action to deal with people smuggling. I'll allow the Leader of the Opposition to be stuck in a welter of inaction if that's where he would prefer to be.
The Greens want to take the issue further, though. They've moved a bill that would have the power to stop the Malaysia deal, but it'd also constrain a future coalition government from proceeding with its preferred option of reopening the Nauru detention centre, and the opposition showing much less enthusiasm for this latest manoeuvre. Tom Eagleton, Late Line.